Shalom, this is Yair Davidiy speaking to you from Jerusalem, the capital of Israel. Speaking to you on behalf of Brit-Am Hebrew Nations, our organisation and movement. Beliefs of the lost 10 tribes are now to be amongst Western peoples. That is what we propagate. This is the message we teach. We concentrate upon researching the subject, revealing it, bringing it to the recognition of the public, and also working towards the reconciliation of Judah, this is the Jewish people, and the 10 tribes of Israel. These are the 3 R's of our movement: research, revelation, and reconciliation. Research, finding where the lost 10 tribes are, or proving it. Revelation, bringing the knowledge to the attention, to the recognition of the general public. And also reconciliation, working towards the coming together and the appeasement and future cooperation between the Jewish people and the 10 tribes of Israel amongst Western nations. And that is what we are about. This is what we do. We say the lost 10 tribes now are to be found amongst Western people. So we come and we tell people, we give people to this message. And some of the people we speak to already believe in this. They have picked up the idea from other sources, or they got it from us, or they always believed it. They always had an intuition, an intuitive feeling that this was the truth, that this is the way things are. And many of them have always felt an attraction towards the Jewish people, or towards the Hebrew Bible or Hebrew customs. And many of them also always wanted to come to Israel and come and live in Israel, and they feel that with this knowledge they should be enabled to do so. They should be able to pack their bags up and come into the state of Israel and receive the rights of a new immigrant, a new Jewish immigrant, and live alongside the Jews, or set up their own settlements. Or sometimes they're prepared to do without. They say they'll come here, they don't want any of the benefits that a new immigrant normally receives, so just let us come and stay, and we'll work our own way, and we contribute to the country, and we can give a lot. And this is what they tell us, that is what they believe in, and we have to tell them that it is not so simple, that this is not possible at the present time, and that is not what our message is about. Now, we have already given a talk, and we've written several articles on this subject, and previously we listed the reasons why this is not possible under 7 major headings. The present talk, we're going to add another 7 to what we've previously spoken about. So the previous 7 that we gave as to why people from the lost 10 tribes cannot at present come to settle in the land of Israel, according to our understanding, is that first of all, our findings, and the Hebrew nation's findings concerning the lost 10 tribes, they're not sufficiently known about. You might believe in it, you might be convinced, but other people are not. Other people have not even heard of us. They have not even heard of this idea, and first it takes a little bit of getting used to. And then we have to convince them to consider the evidence. And then when they consider the evidence, we have to persuade them more, argue it about, debate it, and get them used to the idea. And it takes time. In other words, our organisation needs support. And the first step, if you believe that the lost 10 tribes should come and live in the land of Israel, your first step should be to support us in this endeavour, because we are preparing the way, and we should be the first consideration, not the last, as usually the case. We should be the first thing you think about when you think about coming to the land of Israel, is enabling us to continue our work and spreading the knowledge of what we have spoken of, and also preparing the hearts of the Jewish people and the hearts of the lost 10 tribes themselves. Another point is that even though we say the lost 10 tribes are in amongst Western peoples, and that they are a significant proportion of the population in some of those countries, we cannot say that this applies to everyone. A significant proportion does not mean every single person automatically. It means a good percentage of the population, and someone who comes from such an area and believes in this, resonates with this message. So there's a strong certainty that he is also from the lost tribes of Israel, but it's not certainty, it's not enough. Also, third point is that individuals are not able to guarantee their ancestry. Even if we could say that everyone, or nearly everyone from such an area, is from the lost 10 tribes of Israel, we can't. We can only say that a significant proportion seems to be, strongly seems to be, but we cannot get any closer than that. We also cannot say that an individual person coming from that region definitely is from the tribes of Israel, because maybe the interlopers, maybe comes from somewhere else. All kinds of things may have happened. And also this is all new. So there's no definite proof. There's only strong probabilities. And individuals, in other words, cannot guarantee the Israelite ancestry. There's a certain degree of uncertainty, and this uncertainty is there for a reason. Divine providence wanted it this way. And other things have to be worked out, things have to be pushed, have to be studied, and processes have to be gone through. That is what God, the Almighty, seems to want. Another point is that the lost ten tribes, when they went into exile, they became strangers, they became non-Israelites, became non-Jewish from a religious point of view, in order to enable them to do what they had to do. And this was what divine providence wanted. There was a reason for this. The Bible speaks of it. But nevertheless, they still have this status, and we don't know if the status has been reversed. Towards the end times it will be, but we need more than our own intuition to be certain of it. Need something approaching the level of prophecy, or the sages to discuss this matter, so it cannot be done at the moment. Also, according to prophecy, our indications are, the Bible says that the whole tribe acts on the knowledge. The whole tribe goes through processes. Not individuals coming bits and pieces and dribbles and drabs under their own volition, under their own initiative, wanting to join themselves up to Judah in effect, whether they admit that this is the case or not. This is what in effect they want to do. But the whole groups come as tribes and settle in tribal areas. And in other words, the whole of their nation has to know of this knowledge and has to be prepared for it. And in the future will act upon it. And it's not a message for private individuals to, in a partisan way, take measures on their own initiative without regard to their fellow Israelites in their homeland. Another, the sixth point is that prophecy is needed. We need a some level of prophecy. Prophecy will be renewed. At the present time it has not. So in order to be certain that this is what God wants, we have to wait until we get a message from above. And this is not... President has not so far come forth. There may be alternatives, but this is what we understand will be needed. In addition to that, there's a task to be filled. Each individual Israelite tribe in its place had a certain task, a certain role in history to be played out, and it's not certain that they have played it out. The time for them to return has come. And so these were the 7 points that we brought up, and we discussed them, and we brought sources for them. And now we are going to give you only a very rough, brief outline of the 7 more points, which more or less reflect on the first 7, and they are, some of them are similar or outcomes of the first 7, or encompassed by it, and some of them are not. But it's worth adding them, and it's worth putting them out. So first of all, it seems that from heaven, the time is not right. Maybe God does not want it. That is the most important point. And we need some type of divine inspiration or some type of guidance before we act on this new information, this new revelation. As if to say, so that is one point. Another point is that the state of Israel, present state of Israel, does not allow it. The state of Israel, at least officially, only allows people from Jews to come and live in the land of Israel, or people who is preferable according to government agencies and according to the religious establishment and the Jewish beliefs, that the person either should be a believer in the Jewish religion, who practices the Jewish religion, is recognized as a Jew, and has a Jewish mother. Technically, in many cases, as occurred during the recent Russian immigration, it is enough that only one of one's grandparents was Jewish. So that is another point, but also this is not the case amongst many of the West, amongst many of those to whom we are bringing the message anyway. Then another point is that the Jewish religion is not for it. The Jewish religion is not built for this. The Jewish religion provides, says the lost ten tribes will return, and when the lost ten tribes return, they will convert. And most of those in the West who believe they are from lost ten tribes already have a religion, and we are and they are not prepared to change it, so this is a problem, and that in the future will be resolved, God willing. It will come to its resolution when the present time has not done. It still remains as an impediment, and this impediment also exists because the one providence wants it to at the present time. Another point is that similar attempts at settlement have not been so successful. There were groups in the past who believed they were from the 10 tribes of Israel, and they were allowed in the land of Israel, and they were helped to settle in and be here, and they caused problems, and they did not succeed. Or they were just simply Christians who because their governments were friendly to the land of Israel for certain reasons, were allowed to come and settle here, and they did not fit in. We have an article on our website concerning these different attempts of different groups, so the previous experiences have not been encouraging. This too has to be taken into consideration. And another point, similar to the point we raised previously, is that the priority should be to spread the message of Brit-Am Hebrew nations, let people know that they've been descended from Muslim tribes, and let them internalize this matter and bring it home to them. The tribes will return as groups, and they must first know that they belong to the 10 tribes of Israel, and so that is the point, a strong point that should be remembered. And another point is that the initial settlement of the 10 tribes, when they return, will be around the periphery of the land of Israel. It will be in settlements in present-day Lebanon and Syria and Jordan, and possibly in Sinai and in different areas. First of all, the Muslim tribes, when they come back, they will settle in those regions. Also possibly in Kurdistan, as we mentioned, different prophecies indicating different areas around the periphery of the outer borders of the promised land of Israel. First Muslim tribes will go to those areas, settle them. We don't know how this will come about, but it could come about. These days anything could happen. There could be climatic changes, there could be disasters, God forbid, in all different areas, causing people to move out, and whatever happens, at all events, prophecy indicates that first they will go to the outlying areas, and later on portions of them will also move into the so-called West Bank, Samaria, the region of Samaria, and settle there alongside the Jews. And eventually there will be a reunification of Judah and the 10 tribes of Israel. But this is, this will all be a group event. It will be a communal event. It will be people returning from the lost 10 tribes, returning together with other members from the lost 10 tribes, and returning all together, coming back. And in the meantime, this situation has not arisen. In the meantime, we are in the initial stages of this whole process. And the most important thing at present is to concentrate upon becoming aware, knowing that you are from those 10 tribes, that you descend from Israel, you are of Israelite descent, and you also need to spread this message to others, and enable, help Israel, help Brit-Am Hebrew nations spread the message to other people who also, like yourselves, are descended from Asian Hebrews. May God bless all of you, and the God of Israel be with you always. Thank you.